Well, there isn't much to check, so
All have been too active during the week with reviews, or not much has happened. I don't know. Could be either one. Yeah, this makes sense. Oh, there's a comment from.
yeah, that's already resolved. So I did a review. Looks good.
That is a good review. Yes. Ugh. That out of the way. How is this one?
You know that in a few years they will think, who is that guy who merged everything?
Yes.
Is that godlike person?
You'll be the one they blame for everything.
Yes. It's fine. We need a bot, I guess, that auto merges stuff once there's enough reviews.
So last week, this was a breaking VirtualBox 6 or something.
6.1. So yeah. So they need to they are testing it now. I spoke to Pascal and
Okay.
Giovanna who
So
are
this
working on it.
right, nice.
And it's just that they told me that the output is different. And because it's all command line output that they parse.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah.
Okay, this is still the same. Yes, but we had a discussion about that and where is it going? Something's this one. Is that Greg still complaining?
He was more complaining about the Java one, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. I guess he was complaining about all of them.
Makes sense.
Except it doesn't because nobody has context on this stuff.
Yeah, I think making the point that when a pull request comes in, we're the ones who have to review it, and we have no idea if it's correct. Like Greg doesn't. He seems to be missing that. Somebody with somebody who uses it should be looking at pull requests, not us.
No approvers. Well, given that we have no approvers. That's not true because foundational infrastructure is also UAA.
I mean, they still don't use the package though. They abandon it. They're like, this is a terrible idea. Which makes me think that they're not great candidates for evaluating changes to it.
Yeah, no, it's just I need to be careful how I word this.
Right.
I know. Okay, but we already had approval for this one. let's. But then we have to wait a while because Greg, I think, is on vacation. But eventually he will come back. What's this? Do we have a video now?
That's news to me.
Probably it's not there. Oh, what?
You got rickrolled.
The video is new kids on the block, step by step. Okay, nice.
Who put that in there?
Yeah, that's nice. Wow. Now I'm interested.
Blame.
Yes, but this is not how you get to blame. View file? Is that how it works? No, that's not. Ah, view file.
It was Dimitri.
Was it?
Yeah. That just doesn't feel like a Dimitri move.
Maybe I was drunk at that time.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I guess we could remove that.
That
But now
seems reasonable.
but now we need to get this thing
Oh
resolved.
no.
Oh, yes.
Do you need to sign the CLA for a removal? Like that's not a removal. Is a removal copyrighted?
Probably, I don't know. This is interesting.
Just merge this better. Just without reviews.
That's the way the lawyers come after Ruben later too.
Yeah. Just being a good open source person, I guess.
I updated a PR today too. Maybe the robots haven't found it yet.
Maybe the robots are dead again. Look.
I only did it 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, no, probably then it's still.
It's the Bosch Linux Stem Cell Builder IPC nonsense.
Which one? Bosch Linux?
Yeah. It's the one.
No, the one. That's not you.
No, but it turns out I have the ability to change it from a draft. Also, I'm one of the committers on it.
I see. What's this about?
Remove IPC is enabled by default in Jammy systemd, which causes it to remove inter-process communications after that user's session has exited, unless you're a system user. VCAP is not a system user. So systemd, even though Postgres isn't running under systemd at all, it gets all of this temp stuff deleted, and Postgres just refuses to run under Jammy with this enabled. This is something intended to clean up normal user stuff.
Yeah, is that what you encountered when going into the Postgres release? Like for
with running 15, Postgres 15, well, I think it's like 13 and higher or 12 and higher or something, depend upon these shared files that count as IPC stuff, and they just get cleaned up. Like even with no data, like tiny database like Postgres 15 just refuses to run. Well, it starts and then just throws errors when you try to connect to it about shared files being missing. I think it's on the commit message probably. Maybe not. Maybe it was only.
Oh, here's something else.
Yeah.
So... Oh yeah, you mentioned.
Oh, there was an issue over here. Yeah, I knew there was text somewhere. So the options were change VCAP's user ID. We thought that was a great idea. Turns out terrible idea because of persistent disks and the user IDs stored on those. Change the barrier of where a system ID is. Currently, everything less than 1,000. VCAP is conveniently 1,000 exactly. Or just disable IPC since it's something that, since we don't have normal users, provides no value and only likely to cause harm to Postgres and anything else using shared stuff, whatever this IPC stuff cleans up.
There are people using Bosch-based jump boxes, right?
Maybe.
I know some people doing that.
Even so, the IPC stuff isn't like a big deal. It's something that systemd didn't even used to do. It's like, it's a minor cleanup thing, it seems like.
And it's temporary state, right? It's not something that
systemd
uses.
I have this feeling that it probably gets cleaned up anyway eventually. I'm not entirely sure, but we've definitely never seen a problem with IPC stuff filling up before. And I think some people are kind of angry that this was on by default on the internet, and then nobody listened to them. Definitely, we had a time machine. We should go back and make VCAP a system user.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't it? So back when VCAP was declared not a system users were only a organizational thing. It was like, these are system users, these aren't. There's no behavioral difference. And then a couple of years ago, systemd was like, hey, great, we're going to do behavioral changes based on if you're a system user or not, which ruined stuff for us.
Yeah, and user 1,000 is just used like for the last few decades within Linux, basically. So basically the first user that is doing stuff.
This README stuff is something Brian wanted to also sneak in about how to build the stem cell.
Yeah,
ignore that part.
No, I feel like I'm gonna ask him to create a separate PR for this because it's not related.
I told Brian that this is not the way how you should even do this.
Yeah, he realized this, I think.
Yeah, so
we were working. I'm like, what's all this? He's like, yeah, it was you read this.
So you go to you have the CI Docker directory where you can do like start and then choose whatever stem cell you want to use. That's how like the CI is also using it. So
okay, so Ramon, you want to go comment that? Like,
I commented that on a private Slack channel message.
Okay. Yeah, but it's now in a PR. So maybe you want to...
Well, what he's doing now is better than what he was doing before, I think. Before it was stuff he added. He was like, this will make it work on M1s, and it totally didn't make it work on M1s, he's saying.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I will ping him again.
So you can just comment here, right? Like,
yeah, okay. I will comment.
That's fine. Issues. Well, we have the open PR for that. Oh,
no,
10 hours
it's
ago.
A different one, but he has a different error.
So many people wanting to use.
It's just that the end is failing, so I think that basically he has not enough resources or whatever, because that's the only thing I can really think of.
Okay. I mean,
just SSH into the VM and do a monet summary and see which is failing, so you know which logs you need to check.
Yeah.
Wait, is this? Oh, this is the same guy.
But
he's got an issue open over on maybe
somewhere
Bosch.
else, right?
Yeah, where he's like, I can't spin up a Bosch director on vSphere.
But there's also a discussion I saw about it's different with this here. VirtualBox. Another person tried, like, why is everybody all of a sudden interested in VirtualBox, like Bosch Lite based stuff?
I don't know. This other guy, though, he couldn't create the VM, and I told him, yeah, you need to go get logs. And he's like, I can't get the logs. Instead, I'm going to spin up the Bosch director on VirtualBox and use that to deploy stuff to vSphere. I'm like, that's not a great idea, but it technically will work, I guess. And then, like, he apparently tried that, and he has the exact same problem creating a Bosch director on VirtualBox because presumably his manifest is busted in some way, but he can't get on to see the logs.
But then we should see that here somewhere, right? Is that the one?
Yeah. He's like, the VM's there, but it doesn't work. And then I gave him fairly detailed instructions using the new Bosch SSH -- director stuff. And I'm like, if that doesn't work, if you don't want to try that, you can detach the disk and attach it somewhere else. And
we have
like, I couldn't do it.
Bosch log, Bosch, what's it?
But then
we have the
troubleshooting, right?
Like my response.
Something troubleshooting tips, failing VMs.
Yeah. We have the thing about attaching a disk somewhere, right?
Advanced troubleshooting. Oh, no, that's not it. Getting logged from an unresponsive agent.
Yeah, but that's not the director. He has a problem with the director.
But that should be the same thing. It's still just go onto your IaaS.
Oh yeah,
get the disk.
I guess the Bosch VMs part is
that. Yeah, that's not it. But this.
Yeah.
We can ask him to go from step 3, right?
Yeah.
No, this one. Okay. This is still under discussion. And the last time we had a meeting was the 17th. This has new activity.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, turns out the guy's message above was very accurate, which I realized after trying to reproduce it myself. I'm like, all right, I have it all. And then I read his message. I'm like, this makes a lot more sense now. So they fixed their end because you're falling through I forget what mapper it is, to the mapped device path resolver, which just tries a bunch of letters that match the letter you gave is in dev. But it should work on the first path resolver. That's the good one. But it can't because it no longer matches, because I think Kenneth was saying that QEMU has some sort of limit for the device name when mounting volumes in. So that's why it used to get stripped. So it does seem like in OpenStack CPI, we could just strip it in the CPI. I didn't see anywhere that this volume ID was used on the by the agent other than for finding the path of the device. So it's not like we're going to break something else, I don't think. Alternatively, we could try changing the regex to be something that we could use for this. I'm not quite sure because this is not a portion to strip. This is a portion to keep, which Go
so we could,
regexes are not good at that.
Can you not use like match groups or something?
We could take the regex and use it as a match group, and if you have a match group, use that as the portion to keep, and if not, use it as the portion to strip. Kind of makes strip volume regex a little strange.
Yeah,
we
but
could take two regexes, like
yeah, but maybe we can just like, given that strip volume regex is not used anywhere, we
Yeah.
haven't made a, so we could just decide that we just gonna use a volume regex, get rid of the strip part. And you're
does that
supposed
work
to always,
for the OliCloud use case of they want to just remove like a couple characters?
I thought those characters are static, so you would like the match group is everything after.
Yeah, that might work. Yeah, I could try to throw together PR for that, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah, it
should just be
shouldn't
to
be
the
too
agent,
hard.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it should just be the agent. I think it's not too hard. Just change the name, and I think that's more flexible.
Yeah. Do you even need a match group? I guess you would. Yeah, because there's no look behinds. So it's
I
an
don't know.
optional
I
match
think
group, I
you,
guess.
I think you need tests with it.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
will prove it.
But as far as the different use cases go, I'll
Yeah,
figure something out.
yeah, and like maybe we need something for, I don't know, the different versions of OpenStack, so longer and shorter ones. I don't know.
Well, we can't test it. Nobody has a test environment that
No, but
allegedly.
like based on the stuff that Kenneth said,
Oh, what was he? Oh, that newer versions in theory might not
I
strip it.
I think there were things about length, but I don't know. It was an internal thread somewhere.
Yeah,
But
he
you might
said
want
that
to.
newer versions of QEMU don't strip the regex, the volume ID. They have more characters allocated to it. I don't know if that version of QEMU is actually used by any OpenStack versions. Definitely not any of the old ones we use. But even then, unless you magically get a volume collision, like with the first 20 characters, like it's probably fine to strip them all for now, at least. Otherwise, we've got to cut multiple stem cells, multiple, because I think we already cut 2 for OpenStack, don't we?
Yeah, but maybe like you can have multiple regexes.
Oh, I see. Oh,
So you try the longer one first, and if that doesn't work, you try the shorter one.
yeah, that seems like this would be the correct time to try and incorporate that.
Yeah, like I like try to think about like the other things that we might gonna encounter with this.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh wait, I can do a thing. You volunteered, right?
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, not archive.
Archive have a big click area.
Yeah. We're gonna put this in prioritized. The rest was discussed. Yeah. Okay. Then the only thing that's left to discuss is did you all see this? Joseph did. because he commented. So I'm working with a few folks within VMware to come up with some ideas of what this could look like. And the problem we're trying to solve is, I don't know, embedding some or servicing some SBOM related and attestation related files in a way that we can later get these files out of a release. So they will just be in your source tree, but they have special meaning, and you want to probably use other tools to look at these files or process them in a later step. So yeah, this is a proposal to embed these types of files. And like originally I started out with the idea of like maybe we want Bosch to generate SBOMs, right? Like maybe it could run Sift underneath and stuff like that, but that's putting too much responsibility onto the Bosch CLI, because then at that point the Bosch CLI needs to be correct about these things. So ideally we have a flexible enough system that different different workflows at a later point that still need to be implemented would be able to attest certain SBOMs, or like if there's say a Go mod file in your repository in a certain place, you can have a process that runs that verifies that all the things that are in the vendor directory are not vendor directory in it's vendor, right? The vendor directory are actually matching what you have in your Go mod file, and it matches the upstream, and then it attests, right, an attestation saying these things have been verified in this environment, so we can trust that those embedded artifacts. So that's the attestation part, and then there's the SBOM part, which I'm not. We had some further discussion which hasn't been documented online yet, but maybe actually we don't want to, for the Go mod case, actually don't want to produce an SBOM, because the SBOM is based off the Go mod file. Maybe the Go mod file or the Go sum file is actually the artifact that we want to expose as a supply chain artifact. And then we just have an attestation that says this Go mod file has been verified, and your downstream tooling can just reduce an SBOM from this Go mod file if you wish so.
There's always way more than a Go mod file though, right? You got blobs and other stuff like
yeah. So for blob files, so for blobs we would have to, I don't know, create an SBOM snippet.
So tying it to the specific blob rather than having one for a release that documented it.
Yeah, because like there's different things that go into a release that have different origins, and we don't want to have opinions about these things, just like the different formats that these things could be in, and that we recognize these files as supply chain files that downstream tools probably have an interest in. And then the process around like creating attestations and those supply chain and those SBOMs for blobs, right? That's a problem we can solve down the line. And what this would allow, like if we start embedding these files in this way, you can think of features in the Bosch director like that for a given release, you could like spit out the supply chain files into a directory, right? Because those are useful things. And then like additional tooling, like so basically this is about what are the types that we want to support initially, and support is nothing more than saying this is the type definition that we're gonna have a list of. We're gonna have a list of certain type definitions that we allow, that we recognize as a supply chain file that people can start incorporating in their Bosch releases.
That part feels like a really big mess, having spent 3 days trying to get like just realizing that Sift across like minor versions is like radically different in what it generates, and other tools just like break when depending upon the version of stuff. Like this
Yeah,
feels
but
like it's going to be a huge mess for a
yeah, but
while for
so for
anybody trying to consume
downstream,
stuff.
yeah, sure, for downstream consumers it is, but like
That's not us yet.
that's not yet, and that's why I think Bosch should stay away from
Tomorrow,
that.
me.
Like, that's tomorrow. Yes, that's you when you go deal with Sift. Yes, but I mean Sift, from a file perspective, it has a version definition in the file schema, right? So you should be able to like parse the JSON and find the version, and then switch your logic in your parser based on which version of the Sift thing it is.
The world should work that way, yes.
Yeah, it should. Like, but like from a like if we have to pick an abstraction within Bosch, how we're going to support it, I think we should try to stay away
I'm just
from...
saying that like this is given the flux and all these things, like it's going to be just a mess of unconsumable stuff for the near future. It doesn't mean we shouldn't do this now, but like I don't have a lot of confidence that any of the releases are going to have, you know, if you have a group of releases, you're not going to be able to do anything with those in any sane way for the next year, probably.
Yeah, so that's why I like the idea of at least exposing the Go mods and the Ruby, like, because those files you can actually...
What are you doing for Python and npm? Like this feels like a leaky sort of thing, doesn't it? Especially when Go like decides Go mods are dumb. We got a new package manager again.
Sure, but then we can extend that.
It's a lot of old Go code that still uses deps. Like, should we support those too?
I mean,
I feel like the SBOM is the right abstraction. It's like that is a generic thing that, like, yes, your scanning tool will take whatever your language is doing and convert it to that. Like us having to do the language part feels like we don't have the team strength to do that amount of work and keep up with it. Otherwise, it's gonna be like, we did it, it's done, and then it's like, oh, it doesn't work for all these things. Like, yeah, pull request welcome, and it just rots. Okay, but if you can put whatever SBOM you want in there, then problem solved.
Yeah, so you think we should be even more prescriptive, like saying that certain versions of Sift or
that I don't know. Like that I think is just going to be a mess, because I can't tell you what version works with this tool and also that tool, because there's not a thing. Like it's just a broken landscape right now. But I think the SBOM is the right type of artifact to be putting in here currently, because there's not a better one. And that should capture, you know, should be a superset of like what's in the Go mod file. If your scanning tool is doing a halfway decent job, which some of them aren't, but that's up to the teams publishing releases to do this, which is another question of how do we get everybody to do that work?
Make it an RFC and make it the mandate from the foundation that we want to be doing this. But then we first need tooling to be in place, like have standardized ways of doing this, and then we can start like making that an RFC and have everybody adopt these things. And I think people are happy to do this because it will probably make their downstream work easier. Okay. That's useful input. Yeah, that's it. I don't have anything else.
Short question. Can we create a new Bosch release?
Of the Bosch director?
Yes, we have some features there and need a new release.
Yeah, I think the pipelines, we tried fixing them yesterday. We're changing it to auto release. And that part is currently orange. So we were working on it yesterday and we were waiting for it to go through. I haven't checked it today, but yeah, as soon as we get that cleaned up, it should go out automatically.
Cool. Thanks.
Will it go out on every commit?
I did not work on the actual work. I don't know. I don't think it is. I think it's on like package bumps, and then we can trigger it manually if we want, but it's supposed to go out more often based upon bumps of things.
That sounds nice-ish.
Keep all those dependencies in your SBOMs so they're not the bad ones with CVEs.
Yeah, okay. So on these commits, these bump gem commits.
I know a lot of our pipelines right now already do this for Golang, where they will, you know, if Bosch DNS release, it does a scan of what is there now and what we last shipped. And if there was a high critical CVE difference between the two, so that means one's been fixed, then it will auto release. I don't know if we have tooling for Ruby gems yet. I would hope that was built as part of this, but I don't know. Like ideally, that's I think where we want to be. Like, yes, a Ruby gem was bumped and it fixes a high critical CVE. You know, bumping just because we bumped and they changed to README, we don't want to release on that. Like that doesn't seem important. So we want to have some granularity where we release on important stuff, which is not trivial to automate, but we'll see how well we get it.
So Max, basically it means you have to find higher critical CVE in one of their dependencies, and that's how you can force a release.
Perfect. Sounds like a good way.
It's a really simple system.
Increase the security, right?
Yeah. I mean, like it will make our code base much better. I don't know.
A lot of the CVE tracking databases are really like bad. We've noticed too, like their data will just be wrong. So if you really need a release, you can't find a CVE, you can probably just report a CVE that's not real on something that was in a previous version. It'll take months for that to get cleaned up out of the databases.
Okay. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later.